Welcome back to the Sports Source, this segment of our program brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. We have had lots of rain and lots of storms so far this summer, in case you've been buried under a rock. That makes the ground saturated. That makes it bad for ants. So what do ants do? They come to dry land. They look for food. They look for a new home. Southeast Termite and Pest Control can make sure they don't find their way into your home or office. They have all kinds of treatment plans available. Give them a call. Talk to them about their ant treatments. Southeast Termite and Pest Control, that's the company I use for my home. They do great work. Give them a shout. All right, we all know the Rick Barnes story. 2 years of building, 2 great years that were unexpected, just tremendous performance. Then you had the UCLA pay raise saga this past offseason, and now a rebuilding project, which isn't the best timing for him, but that's the way it goes. You're going to need a program to follow this team next year. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ins and outs since April. There's 6 of each, and that's not even counting some of the guys that were the walk-ons who left. Kyle Alexander graduated. Jordan Bone left early, now in the NBA. DJ Burns, he's now entered the transfer portal. That came out this week. Whether that was his decision, UT's decision, mutual decision, we'll just leave it at that. DJ Burns in the portal. Admiral Schofield graduated. Derek Walker transferred. He's going to Nebraska. Grant Williams left here early, NBA. Had a great night last night. We'll talk about in the next segment. Coming in, Victor Bailey transferred in from Oregon, but he's expected to sit this year. Devontae Gaines, signee. Josiah Jordan-James, signee. He's your 5-star. Olivier Kamoa, signed. Drew Pember, signee from here in town. And Uros Plavsic transferred in from Arizona State, but he's still got to be cleared. Throw in all that, a lot of folks wanted Tennessee to land Kerry Blackshear, the transfer from Virginia Tech. He instead chose Florida over Kentucky and Tennessee. Now it looks like Isaiah Stokes, Jarnell Stokes' little brother, is transferring out to Florida because Blackshear went down there. At any rate, I keep hearing people talk about this team and they're saying, well, I'll still be in the NCAA tournament. I don't know. I look at this roster and I'm not confidently saying they're not going to be in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Can't talk today. But I'm not confident they will make the NCAA tournament either. Where are you guys on this roster in terms of all that turnover and change?
Borderline. I think they're a borderline NCAA team, and it's even more doubtful if they don't get Plavsic eligible. But I just don't see where they're going to get much inside production, whether it's from defense, whether it's from rebounding, or whether it's from scoring inside. And there's a pretty good chance Tennessee's going to go with a small lineup. If Pons ends up starting, and I think the other 3 we know are likely going to start, I think this could be a really small lineup. I think they're borderline NCAA tournament team.
A small lineup, and the guys you do have that are a little big. I mean, again, if Pons starts, that's not a big man, but if he plays and starts, he's got a long way to go offensively, obviously.
He does.
But defensively too last year. But you've got the strength of your team should be your backcourt. Mm-hmm. But it's not just that, well, you got some question marks up front. You got guys that better take some quantum leaps in your front court to get back to the NCAA tournament, in my view.
Mm-hmm. That's the reason I kind of think that they're going to be one of these teams that they'll upset some people. They'll have a hot shooting night, and they'll go and they'll play somebody in the top 10 and beat them. And then they're also going to lose some games that this team hadn't lost in the last couple of years because they'll have cold shooting nights too. I mean, I think this is going to be a team that until they do something different, your inside game is basically going to be secondary. How well are you going to shoot the ball?
Yeah, when you play teams like Kentucky, which is going to be loaded up front, Florida, which now has Blackshear, Memphis is going to be a tough game with the size that they're bringing in. Tennessee could have some real trouble, but they could have some games where they just shoot lights out, where Turner and Bowden and James have big games, and that gets in there. I think Tennessee's hope for the tournament would be tread water, that you can be kind of like Florida last year, where you have some up nights, you have some down nights, but you're in the SEC, the conference gets more attention, and you get a little more credit for being in that league.
I think confidence is the big part of the question is how can you be confident that this team makes the NCAA tournament? And that's where I think there's a fault in that. Can they? Yes, especially if Josiah Jordan-James is special. If he's special and you have known commodities and Lamonte Turner and Jordan Bowden, that's a pretty nice top 3 there. And then what do you get in terms of development with everybody else? But I wouldn't assume it just because this team has done it and been successful the last couple of years.
Agreed. I mean, the bottom line is this. As I said, Bailey expected to sit this year. Plavsic, well, nobody's seen him play. Nobody
Right.
saw him.
Because he hasn't.
Right.
really.
So, and then you don't know that he's cleared either. We're anticipating him being cleared, but we don't know that yet. And then the other guys, Gaines, James, Kamoa, Pember, never played a game. We don't know. So it's hard for me to see anybody go, oh, well, here's what you're going to get from these guys. If I haven't seen them, I don't know what to me, it's the same thing as talking about this Tennessee football team's offensive line. It's awfully young. You get 2 freshman tackles. I don't know what I'm going to get out of that.
Well, I mean, you kind of look at it. Can you go 10-8 in the SEC? If you did, that'd probably get you in the NCAA tournament. But then you look at it and go, this team could also go 8-10.
Yeah, and their non-conference is going to be
Yeah.
steady.
It's a
It's going to be
challenge.
steep this
Well,
year.
it's interesting, and to Josh's point, so the SEC, playing in the SEC would benefit you from that regard. The negative is it may render you with a
Yeah.
losing record
Yeah.
in the league. So that's why I think it's going to be difficult for them to make the NCAA tournament. I've talked to a couple of people that have watched Tennessee practice that say already that Plavsic is their best big man. They think he's going to be a good player. What does that say for Fulkerson? Or what does that say for Kent? What does that say for the others? So I think it's going to be a tough year for Tennessee.
I do too. I think the thing we're going to be discussing from about late November on, off and on this show and on your other shows, I think the big topic is going to be, how can a guy that makes that much money go to an NIT? Should that even be possible? Because I've had that conversation with people. That's unacceptable for what he's making. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe this team comes out and surprises like it did 2 years ago. Again, we haven't seen them. They may be all Americans here, but I just have a feeling it's going to be a bubble team, and the conversation this season is going to be, you paid him so much money for this, when you're really paying him that much money to take care of the program for the next 5 years.
What if Fulmer comes out and said our expectations
I
to
was
get to
just
the
thinking the same
I'm
thing.
guessing you won't hear that quote. Yeah, I'm guessing you won't hear that quote. All right, when we come back, Tennessee is enjoying a heck of a time in terms of the NBA. It's the high water mark in program history, really. When you talk on court, off court, it's impressive. We'll run through that. Is it time for Tennessee fans to become bigger NBA fans? Is that going to happen? We'll discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source.